Hey guys, Working Man Reads here, and today I am back with another tag video. Brad Proctor over at Brad Proctor on YouTube. He tagged me in the book reviewer tag. So I'm gonna do it. I'm excited. I actually have a lot of energy today. If you can't tell, I have been very excited chasing a toddler around, and it's a blast. And then tomorrow we're going apple picking, and hopefully I'm going to have some little bit of hard cider, relax with the family. We're going with my parents, and yeah, we're going to go do a bunch of stuff. So hang out with the family. What else is better to do in fall? I can't tell you what it is. So I hope you guys had a wonderful week. I don't know if I said that already, but please hit that like button. Leave me a comment. Let's talk about books. Yes. All right, so number one. Where do you post your book reviews outside of BookTube, Goodreads, social media, retailers, blogs, etc.? All right, so I would say that I always post on Amazon and Goodreads and Instagram my reviews. I try to get as much exposure as I can for the artist. I definitely suggest if you're just a casual reader, it's as easy as clicking and pasting your Goodreads review onto Amazon. Just try to, if you're doing an indie or a small press author, it really helps them out if you get that review on both those websites. I haven't really been requested by an author to do anything other than that, so I would suggest maybe those. Like, nobody really ever asks for like Facebook or anything, which I'm thankful for because I keep that personal. But yeah, super awesome. Definitely do that. So that's my answer. I also do a picture of my thumbnail on Instagram usually, and I'll try to do a fancy picture, but I'm not as good as some of the other bookstagrammers. You can find me at Working Man Reads on there also. All right, so number two, what is your star rating system? This is kind of my jam that I've created. It's my own little way of reviewing books, and it's super fun. But basically, I take 5 different criteria, and then an overall, and then I give a star rating for each one of those. So we have plot/premise, and that'll get like a 1 to 5 star rating. And then you'll have writing, which is writing in prose, or just overall, just how did it read. So that'll get a 1 to 5 star rating. Then also horror, because I do read a lot of horror on this channel. And if I read a sci-fi or a fantasy and the horror doesn't fit for that, I just drop that category out. But it's important sometimes for indie or for horror in general for you to know what type of horror it is. Is it a splatterpunk? Is it a bizarro fiction horror? Is it just a classic supernatural? Yeah, so moving on. 4, I do characters sometimes, but sometimes I just include the character work in the writing, depending on the book. But sometimes books are really heavily character driven. Like if you're reading a Stephen King novel, sometimes he writes those characters so diverse and so intertwined and very interesting that it is important to give you a separate category for that. Also, fun. This is my favorite category. This is what's very important because if you're following my channel, possibly you enjoy the same books that I do, and sometimes books don't have to be literary masterpieces to be fun to read. And that's what I'm doing all this for. That's why I started reading, was for fun. So don't lose sight of that. Make sure you have a fun star rating and enjoy yourself when you're reading your books. If you're not enjoying them, then drop them. So then I take those numbers, so I'll do like, let's say 2 for plot, 3 for writing, so on and so forth, and then I'll average them out in my head, and then I'll come up with a 3.5 or a 2.5, and then I always round up for the author. That's just what I do. Other people do different things, but I always round up. So number 3, that one was a long one, huh? Convince me to read your favorite book of yours in no longer than 5 words. I'm going to say Blake Crouch's Dark Matter, and it is, all right, so let's do this. Perfect blend of science fiction, well, sci-fi, kind of one word, and horror. So there you go. That's 6. That's 6 words, and horror. Whatever, I tried my best. It's the perfect blend of science fiction and horror. All right, Dark Matter. Blake Crouch. Check it out. All right, which book was the hardest to review and why? I would say any short story collection. Still struggling with that. I don't know how to not spoil things. I've done pretty decent in the last short story collection I did, but it is a struggle of mine. It is way easier not to spoil something in a novella or a novel, but like when the story is only 7-8 pages, it's very hard to say anything other than, hey, read it, it's good. You know what I mean? So I'd say short story collections are the hardest to review, or ones you don't care for. A book that like everybody likes and you personally didn't care for it, that's a struggle to me, because I feel like, what's wrong with me? Why didn't I like it? But not every book is for everybody. So 5, are there any books you won't review or give a star rating to out of principle? Personally, I don't think I should ever review a book that I did not finish. So if I DNF a book, I will review it, but I'm not going to rate it with a star rating. In the past, I just straight up didn't review it at all. But I do think it's important for people that are maybe following me with my reading to know if I DNF a book and maybe why. So I do write up a review of it, but I don't hit that star rating because I did not finish it. For instance, I read I didn't read The Sellout, and I did do a written review of it, but I didn't do a star rating because I think it's wrong to the artist. If you didn't finish it out, if you didn't finish through the book, I think it's wrong to review it like that. And that was a pretty bad book for me. And I didn't even do it. It was the worst book I've ever read. All right, so number 6, a book you really want to read, but it has terrible reviews. Do you still read it? Yes, I do. Sometimes I go to the bookstore and I don't pull up Goodreads, and I just pick a book out and buy it. Right? I don't know what else to say. I know. Imagine a world where you didn't actually go to Goodreads every time. So yeah, sometimes I bought a book at the used bookstore for like $1.99, and it was like I think it had like a 2.95 on Goodreads, so it could be absolute garbage. But I seen a very popular booktuber that read it and gave it 5 stars after the fact, so I was like, maybe it's worth reading, maybe it's worth it. We never know. Different cups of tea, for different people. All right, number 7, where do you view book reviews outside of BookTube, and what is your preferred format? Short, long, video, print? I would say there's some really good book reviewers just on Instagram that don't really do these BookTube videos. I choose to usually go with my trusted sources here on BookTube, so it's a little difficult for me to answer this question. Like if Brad reads it, or Kevin at Well Read Beard, or my friends like Paul, over at Purgatory Paul, all my friends here, we all have very similar tastes. So if they say a book sucks or they say a book is good, I'll probably enjoy it. So that's my answer to that. But I do go to Goodreads. There's some people who make like a career out of just Goodreads reviews. I mean, they kill it like way better than me. I just try to have this like system to make my videos a little bit more streamlined, unlike this one. All right, number 8. At what point do you view reviews of a book you are reading? Before, during, or after? And do you seek out similar reviews to yours or opposing? That's a really good question. So I don't look at reviews while I am reading the book, because that'll skew my personal opinion. So, for instance, but I see this a struggle because I do watch YouTube videos, and that's probably why I purchased the book, if that makes sense. So eventually, in the beginning, I did see a good review for it, and that made me purchase it. But then I try to forget about it and read it on my own, and then have my own takes on it. And then I'll go back and watch those same videos to see, oh, okay, so Well Read Beard enjoyed Stones from Israel Finn's collection, and I liked Deadfall Lane. I'm just throwing random things out, and I think that that's cool. So then I go back and I'm like, oh snap, that's sweet that we had a different opinion, but we both enjoyed it. Or sometimes people hate it And I don't want my review to be like, oh yeah, I seen that so and so hated it. I did break that protocol though with The Sellout, because as I was reading it and it was extremely racist, I was like, wow, I wonder if there's African American people or people of color that have read this book, and do they feel the same way that I do? And then I went to Goodreads, and there was this outstanding review for The Sellout, and it was by an African American woman. And I was like, she destroyed my review. It was amazing. Every thought that she had is how I felt about it, and it did help me with DNFing the book. So that did skew me on that, but overall, I don't usually let them get into my head too much, you know. All right. So, did I skip anything? All right. No, I didn't. Which book have you read with the lowest rating on Goodreads that you loved? That's a difficult one, because I don't really read any books that were low rated. So, yeah, I don't really have an answer for that one. Which book have you read with the highest rating on Goodreads that you hated? Well, that I hated. I don't finish books that I hate. But I would say that The Sellout won awards. This is turning into a bash fest for this book, so I'm apologizing about that. But it did win awards. It won the Man Booker Award prize, and it has a lot of reviews for it. And I didn't care for it. So, yeah. What else did I ever hate any other books? Not really, because I just genuinely don't like finishing books that I hate. Oh, I didn't care for the book by Victor LaValle that everybody loves. That book I didn't care for, and that's the answer for this question, is the Victor LaValle book where he's the Ballad of Black Tom. I didn't care for that one, and literally everybody loves it. It's like it's everybody's favorite thing on here on YouTube, and I didn't care for it personally, but not every book is for everybody. So this has been Working Man Reads. Thank you for stopping by. If you want to do this tag, please feel free. If you've never found my channel before, please think about subscribing, hitting the bell, whatever the heck you want to do. Remember, always stop working, and remember to read. Do your best in life. Enjoy your weekend. It's fall. Let's go.